Yes. Yai nai 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 nai. Ai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Ai nai 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 nai.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome as we join together and create community over our live stream as we welcome Shabbat, Cantor Ayelet Porzykanski and Miriam Daly, our musical accompanist, and myself welcome you for this Shabbat evening service. I want to encourage you to get yourself settled in. If you have your PDF, your portable digital format document open, that's great. And as I say every week, if you're not quite sure where it is, don't worry. We'll say Amen together. You'll get credit for the prayers. We'll sing La La if need be, as that story of the Hasidic tale of the little boy who brings Aleph, Bet, Gimel, and Daled, and the rabbi teaches God will put the letters together for us. I want to invite you, of course, to participate. So if you do have the PDF open, that's great. You can find the link on the Shabbat service note that went out on email today and also on the website. If you're settled in, that's terrific. Perhaps you have candles at the ready, you've poured some wine or grape juice for Kiddush, and have challah at the table. If you're still getting yourself ready, that's fine also. When you can join us safely and focused, that's also terrific. Feel free to come in as you're able and to depart when necessary. There are times throughout the service where I'll invite you to rise in body and or spirit as you're able. We either face toward the Ark or Jerusalem, sometimes toward the entryway to welcome Shabbat. We have an opportunity as we are now out of the holiday season to return to the singing of Lecha Dodi, which is wonderful. And as always, when we get there, I'll invite you to stand if you are able in body and or spirit. Most important, though, is really simply our being present. And I want to invite you to settle in so that you can do that and that you can spend the next hour with us focused on welcoming the Shabbat guest back into our homes. We're going to kindle Shabbat lights at the candle table, and I invite you to do so as well at your home if you have them set up to do that.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
As always, we don't have pages, but we do have slide numbers. and we are at slide number 4 in the PDF, and we join together. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. And there are days when we exploit nature, as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. And there are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we are reminded that justice is our duty, a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We're going to join with the cantor in Shiru Ladonai. That's the lower psalm text on slide 5.
שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ. שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ. שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום יום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ. שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ.
At the bottom of our next slide, Adonai Oz.
Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom, v'shalom. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai yivarech et amo.
Our bat mitzvah last weekend reminded us that the institution of Shabbat, the invention of the Jewish people, a day of rest each week, our contribution to world civilization has expanded in our own age into what we now call the weekend. Nevertheless, Shabbat is something more than a merely sacred time. In its best observance, Shabbat is indeed embodied and present with us as a loved one. Each week we invite Shabbat to return and be with us as a bride or a groom, king or queen, beloved, lover, and friend. So I invite you, as we turn to slides 7 and 8, as we sing these words of Lecha Dodi, to, as we get to the very last stanza, I'll give a little cue at that point, if you're able in body and or spirit to rise and face the entryway to your home and bid Shabbat to come, return, and enter and be with you.
Lecha lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. lecha lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. la 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 lecha lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. lecha lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמעו וזכו בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל מיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה, לה 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 לה, לך לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי, שדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Rise, face, and body or spirit toward the entryway and invite Shabbat to enter.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תחמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלה, לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
As pilgrims would enter into Jerusalem when the temple still stood, they would hear the Levitical choirs singing the 92nd Psalm, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Tov Lehodot Ladonai. Slide 9 as we join in singing with the cantor.
Tov lehodot, l'Adonai. Tov lehodot, l'Adonai. ולזמר לשמך עליון, לשמך עליון. ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות, לאדוני. טוב להודות לאדוני. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. טוב להודות, לאדוני. טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר לשמך עליון, לשמך עליון. ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות, לאדוני. טוב להודות לאדוני.
Likely I forgot to mention that you could have a seat after rising for the Sabbath bride. So if you're still standing, that's terrific. And if you'd like to get ready for the call to worship, as is the custom at Reader's Cottage, we are at slides 10 and 11.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
אמן.
בעלמא דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולם מעולמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהודה ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
Slide 12, the call to worship, Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Please do have a seat if you wish. We join together now in the English of the Creation Prayer, slide 13. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We join with the cantor, slides 14 and 15, in the singing of Ahavat Olam.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. עם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע יומם בלילה נגע יומם בלילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
We join with the cantor in the chanting of the Shema Ve'ahavta paragraph as we continue on slides 17 and 18.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We join together in the English on slide 19. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt. There is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, and that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Mi Chamocha, slide 20.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך ראו בניך בקי הים לפני משה ומרים Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Slide 21, Hashkivenu.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום בהעמידנו שומרנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום בהעמידנו שומרנו לחיים ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום תמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
The bottom of the same slide.
ברוך אתה, אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכות שלום. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל. ועל ירושלים ועל כל עמו. ועל ירושלים שלום. ועל ירושלים ועל כל עמו. ועל ירושלים שלום. ברוך אתה, אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכה שלום. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל.
Guard our coming and our going to life and to peace from now and forevermore. Our next slide from Exodus 31, a reminder that Shabbat is the cornerstone of the covenant of our people and the creator of the universe, V'shamaru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
We arrive at Tefillah, the standing prayers, at our Kavanah now at slide 23, as we envision arriving at the divine throne room to offer the prayers of our community before the Creator of all. If you are able, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we face toward Jerusalem or toward the Aron Kodesh.
That my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מחכה חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש בשם הקדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללו הסלע ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
If you'd like to have a seat at this time, I invite you to do so, or if it's your custom to remain standing through the prayer for peace, that's also fine. We are going to continue together with slide 27 in the English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha-Shabbat. Together,
Amen.
Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, shotecha levadecha b'yirah na'avod.
Amen.
Our next slide together, God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shemcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. The final prayer of Tefillah, the prayer for peace, Shalom Rav, on slide 30.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata לכל השלום, שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. טסים לעולם, טסים לעולם.
ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל, בשלום.
Amen.
Our next slide, slide 31, is blank to encourage the offering of the words, meditations, and reflections of our own hearts.
רצון עם רפי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי גואלי עושה שלום ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Shabbat Shalom. Those of you who have been attending, joining in the live stream services, know that over the last 2 months, Cantor Porzykanski, Rabbi Kane, Miriam Daly, and myself have been officiating a larger than typical number of B'nai Mitzvah ceremonies as we play catch up on those youngsters whose services were canceled in April, May, and June and rescheduled for this season. The clergy team has been working hard along with our 13-year-olds and their families, marking these ceremonies of transition from childhood into adolescence. Adolescence, as I say regularly at these services, is the pathway to becoming an adult, although just when we become an adult will vary from individual to individual without doubt. It's been my habit over the last 23 plus years to take our B'nai Mitzvah students aside right before the ceremony and along with the cantor offer a brief pep talk to ready the youngster for leading the service. Of late, rather than holding our pep talk in Sue Gold's office, as I have done for many years, the cantor and I now take our bar or bat mitzvah out on the front landing of the building, affording us both fresh air as well as some privacy from the small and socially distanced number of family gathered here in our BHS sanctuary. Although each child receives a varied combination of our personal comments and selected bits of wisdom, one comment I find myself using in the midst of the current pandemic with each and every student now is worth sharing this evening in reflecting on the week's Torah portion, Noah. And what I say is, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Or, as I actually paraphrase it, don't let your desire for perfection get in the way of being satisfied with achieving the good. The quote itself apparently originates with Voltaire, who quoted it as an Italian proverb in his philosophical dictionary, a rough translation, "Best is the enemy of the good." I would argue that learning and internalizing this lesson is in fact an important part of maturation and achieving the status of an adult, and therefore a key lesson for a bar or bat mitzvah. Conversely, seeking perfection, while perhaps important in some fields to drive performance and art, is too often, in my estimation, a block against our own effort to change for the better. Conversely, holding oneself or another up as the incarnation of perfection is an endeavor that is often disheartening for us mere mortals. Achieving the best time after time is simply, at least for most of us, not possible. This week's Torah portion, Noach, intrudes on this discussion with the theological question of whether or not we should imagine that God is perfect. This is no small matter and affects not only how we perceive God, but what we expect of ourselves, created in the divine image. In other words, are we supposed to be able to be perfect because God is perfect? Or is good enough, in fact, good enough? Or even more importantly, are we capable of improvement and change at all? Why bother to make the effort for improvement when it will only take us from okay to a little bit better, but never to best or perfect? Even for secular humanists, this question has great urgency. This week's Parsha offers the following quote from Genesis chapter 6. "The Eternal saw that the evil of human beings was very great on the earth, and that every scheme of their hearts' devising was only perpetually evil. And the Eternal regretted having made the human being, and was grieved to the heart." Now, while we read this narrative as mythos without much theological weight today, some of our sages were deeply troubled by the notion of a God who created humanity and then was essentially surprised by its behavior and filled with regret. You see, regret is a human, not divine emotion, supposedly. And worse, regret is indicative of a change in attitude from what preceded. For Jewish philosophers such as Maimonides, and the Islamic philosophers Averroes, Avicenna, Al-Farabi, and the Catholic Church philosopher Thomas Aquinas, God is a constant. God doesn't change, we change. God is the prime mover. But being perfect, God cannot change. Regret, then, is a human emotion intended to help us seek to better ourselves. How could it possibly pertain to a perfect God? As I like to say, be careful of the rabbit holes nearby when you read such texts. You might start asking, for example, how a perfect God could or would create such imperfect beings, such as us human beings. This leads to affirmations that perfection must be achievable by us and should be sought. For Christians, Jesus becomes the perfect embodiment of the divine, read perfect, human being. Yet, in all deference to Maimonides, St. Thomas, Averroes, the truth is that we Jews have remained suspicious of the idea of a perfect God. Our own recognition of our own imperfection leads us to suspect that our divine Creator may not be quite perfect. And perhaps that is not only okay, but actually quite important. To be created in the divine image, I preached last week, is to argue that our moral conscience guides our choices. While other creatures may be able to consider the past or the future, or perhaps even the consequences of their actions, no other creature evaluates not only what might happen, but should it happen. Is it right or is it wrong? Is it good or is it bad? That ability is what allows us to grow and to change, to become, if not perfect, better. Very young children like to imagine that their parents are all powerful and perfect. It is a source of comfort and security, but it is also an illusion that time and maturity sweep away. By the time we have become bar or bat mitzvah, we have come to understand that our parents are in fact imperfect and fallible. Nevertheless, if we are blessed, our parents remain in one or more or many arenas, role models for us for a lifetime, even after they are gone. In accepting their imperfection, we are then able to be inspired by their efforts and even their successes to improve ourselves and to change. That this Torah portion describes a God who is disappointed in God's children, a God with a temper, yes, and a God who regrets God's actions as well, teaches us that from a biblical point of view, God can grow. God can change, and so too, we humans, created in the divine image, can grow and change as well. In Genesis chapter 9, we read of what I can only describe as a contrite God speaking to Noah and all humanity following the flood. I will establish my covenant with you that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. Perfection is overrated. The ability to change is what is precious and holy and good enough. Shabbat Shalom. As always, I look forward to your sharing reactions, insights, comments, critiques. If you send me an email or a text, I won't be able to respond, of course, till after Shabbat, but I do look forward to people's comments, so thank you. Our thoughts turn now to those in need of blessing and or healing. Let me just get to that slide. You'll find Debbie Friedman's setting of the Mishaberach on slide 34, and we call to mind on the Shabbat for healing and blessing. Whether minor, modest, or great, we call to mind Robert Mallon, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Yaakov Tzvi Ben Liba, Seymour Pustelnik, Ellen Boyle, Kevin Boyle, Richard Nicholson, Deborah Newman-Salowy, Maureen Tremblay, Helene Furman Gold, Kenneth Newman, Gloria Sancho, Eileen Balkin, Jenny St. George, Yigal Ben Alana, Arthur Rose, Aksan Faruqi, Elia Ben Label Vigita Henya, Chava Gittel bat Freda, Yona bat Ephraim, Yechezkel Miriam, Fega Devasha bat Shendel, Florence Spire, Yona Chaya bat Miriam, Davida, Ruth bat Binyamin v'Chava, Steve Brown Inns, Yona Tevya ben Label v'Gittachenya, Renee Fishzone, Moshe ben Leah, Nancy Lazar, Delroy Aline. And if you have names you wish to share aloud.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Kain Yehi Ratzon. May it be God's will. We join together now in our prayers for our nation and for the state of Israel. Slides 35 and 36 as we join together. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Amen.
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Grant them deliverance and adorn them in a mantle of victory. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there.
Amen.
Amen. We turn now to our concluding prayers. Aleinu at slide 37. I want to invite you again, as you are able in body or spirit, to rise as we face toward the Aron Kodesh, the Holy Ark.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, עמד מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד, ונאמר לאדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
We remain standing as we are able, as our thoughts turn to those who are gathered with us through the blessing of memory. We recall these recent passings in Shloshim in the month. Harriet Rosenblum, recalled by Pat Rosenblum, Aaron and Seth. Sherry Poland-Wolf, recalled by Benjamin Poland, Lauren Poland, Adam and Zoe. Louise Nahas, recalled by Rebecca Fisher and Alma Engentire. We also call to mind those whose yahrzeit falls at this season of the year. David Dacus is recalled by Jeffrey Dacus. I apologize if I am mispronouncing that last name. Jacob Minkowitz, recalled by Marty Minkowitz. Jack Swertloff, recalled by Larry Swertloff. Bertha Browdy, recalled by Beth Tallman. Bertha Browdy, also recalled by Bill Gutman. Jim Duggan, recalled by Bob Weiss. Bertha Browdy, recalled by Ruth Gutman. Florence Schwartzman, recalled by Madeline Schwartzman. Barry Silverman, recalled by Marjorie Goldberg. Arnold Liebman, recalled by Judy Liebman. Joy Browdy Takiff, recalled by Bill Gutman. Rose Jonas, recalled by Nancy Lazar. Minnie Lieb, recalled by Miriam Katowitz. Arnold Goldberg, recalled by Marjorie Goldberg and the entire congregational community. Peter Versch, recalled by Doris Versch. Robert Wint, recalled by Bobby List and the congregational community. Nathan Pober, recalled by Ellen Rittberg. Morris Bruckman, recalled by Hazel Ferschleiser. And Charlotte Geyer, recalled by Jill Braver. Again, I apologize if I have mispronounced any of these names or failed to share aloud the name of a loved one whose passing is in recent days or whose yahrzeit falls at this season. I'd like to invite you to share corrected or absent names aloud. We sanctify their names and their memories even as we sanctify God's name and pray for the coming of God's realm. The words of Kaddish on slide 40. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba v'alma divrach erutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chaye chon uv'yomei chon uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael b'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kudsha v'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'asei shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace on high cause peace to descend upon us, all Israel, our entire world, and let us all say,
Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Ve'meru.
Amen.
Amen. So some very hopefully brief comments. Tomorrow morning, I will be facilitating Chavurah at 9:30 a.m. If you'd like to do some deep study in the second portion of Torah and of the book of Genesis, Parshat Noach. At 10 a.m., Ryan and Jesse Turner are going to be called to Torah as B'nai Mitzvah. And then in the afternoon at 1:30 p.m., Aidan Schaap will also be called to Torah as a Bar Mitzvah. There are many things going on in the synagogue. This coming week, you should be receiving all the information about our continuing education program, Adult Ed, if you will, and hopefully an opportunity to sign up for courses that interest you. We'll also be floating an opportunity for a little kibitz with the rabbi. I'm going to offer an hour slot with some 15-minute slots starting on Fridays from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. If you would be interested in just meeting me outside on the landing and having a brief chat about what's going on. If you need longer than that, we can always schedule something. This is really just a chance to connect and hear how people are doing and say hello. So we'll be creating an electronic sign-up for that during the coming week. Hopefully the first one will be next Friday, if not the following. And there's a lot more going on. Please do have a look at the website. We're still working remotely, so email is really the best way to be in contact with us. But I do encourage everyone, please do reach out and connect. Our closing song in honor of Parshat Noach is Rise and Shine, which is our next slide 43.
The Lord said to Noah, there's gonna be a floody. The Lord said to Noah, there's gonna be a floody. Get your children out of the muddy children of the Lord. So rise and shine and give God your glory. Rise and shine and give God your glory. Rise and shine and give God your glory, children of the Lord. So Noah, he built them, an arky, Noah, he built them, an arky, made it out of hickory, barky, children of the Lord. So rise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, children of the Lord. The animals, they came on by twosies, animals, they came on by twosies, elephants and kangaroosies, children of the Lord. So rise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, children of the Lord. It rained and it poured for 40 daisies, rained and it poured for 40 daisies, drove those animals nearly crazy, children of the Lord. So arise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, children of the Lord. The sun came out and dried up the landy, sun came out and dried up the landy, everything was fine and dandy, children of the Lord. So rise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, children of the Lord. This is the end to our story. This is the end to our story. Everything was hunky-dory, children of the Lord.
Last time.
So rise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, rise and shine and give God your glory, children of the Lord.
Thank you, Cantor and Miriam. That was terrific. Let's get ourselves ready for Kiddush. If you've got your Kiddush cup filled and your challah at the ready.
Oh, yeah. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישבת ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי חבריי,
לחיים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן.
לחיים.
לחיים.
So if you have your challah at the ready, I invite you to join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Peaceful evening, and we'll see you in the morning.